Greetings, viewer. More piffle from down under. Poor photography, bad videoing, even worse commentary. You get it all here. What we're looking at today is my Russian force has reached my set, for the time being, completion point. What have I been working on? I was, as I may have indicated on a previous video, awaiting a shipment from Essex, which after a bit of a delay arrived. And then we're here in winter now, and I must admit I'm in a bit of a funk. And enthusiasm waned greatly. But yeah, I've managed to get there in the end. So what was I waiting on? Semenovsky Grenadiers. Now, we'll go through all the different forces that I've badly photographed, so you can work out what's what, but I don't know if you can make this out. Now, the figures at the back, on the back rank there, the Essex figures I was waiting on. The figures at the front are second generation minifigs. And yes, I know I can't paint to save myself, so don't worry about it. Semenovsky guards had blue facings. They should have red piping to those blue facings, but for reasons I'll go into in a minute, I'm not quite game to try that at this stage. Red shoulder straps were retained, according to my Osprey. A little disappointed with the Essex figures, not from their style or their size, but I'm just wondering if the moulds might be starting to wear out a bit. I had a dickens of a trouble. What do you call them? The stands, the metal stands that form part of the figure that they come on. With the Essex figures, they are normally quite small anyway. But I had a dickens of a trouble with those. I had to cut off large chunks of extra metal, and then I had to really file away to try and get them to reasonably stand up. But anyway, got there in the end. I'm just wondering perhaps if the Essex moulds aren't starting to wear out. Russians, they would have made a lot of those. I did get quite a few bags of Spanish from them, and they didn't seem to have half the problems that the Russians did. And that's why I'm wondering if about the moulds, because you would imagine Essex would have produced far more Russians over the years than Spanish. Please, not a slag at Essex Miniatures. I intend to go back and perhaps get a few, well, I will go back and get a few more bits and pieces, more so for my 28mm Ancients. But yeah, just wondering. The other thing I was waiting on was some skirmishes for my Allied Corps. Now again, you can see nothing fancy with the paint job there. Again, a lot of metal attached to the bases. Not so much trouble getting these ones to stand up, but a lot of extra metal I had to cut off. And the reason I've got you looking down there, if you see the gap between the rifle and the arm, on every one of those figures, I had to go and drill those out. And it wasn't just a thin sheet of metal, it was really quite a big chunk. It took quite a bit to burrow down through there so as to be able to get the space between the arm and the rifle. Hopefully you get the idea there. But anyway, so let's have a look. So first off, I'm going to try zooming in a bit. You'll have to forgive my poor camera work. It's one of the problems with 15mm when you're filming them. Unlike their 28mm cousins, it's hard to see the detail. Although perhaps in my case with my painting talent, maybe that's not a bad thing. Let's go back out to 1 again. See, that's a bit too far. I can't seem to get my film to go to, say, 1.5. Anyway, all right. So here's the Allied contingent. Sorry, the light's not particularly great today. So I've got some Swedish cavalry at the back, 2 Swedish units there, a couple of units there in greatcoat. I'm calling them either Finnish, or maybe even Siberian, just to so as I can differentiate between the units. Each of the main inverted commas corps come with a brigade of cavalry, or what I'm calling a brigade, 4 brigades of infantry, skirmish block. Now that can either be put together to form a 4-stand unit, or say for games like GDA 2, used as actual skirmisher stands, and a battery of guns. Yeah, just hang on a sec. Yeah, sorry about that. No time for you at all, but I had to go and get something. This last lot of Russian guns, I did get some Russian artillery from Essex, but they just did not work out. I'll explain why in just a sec. So I've used, now I have a sneaking suspicion these may be either French or British artillery, possibly French, with a howitzer. My motto is make do with what you've got. Yeah, I originally had some chariot miniatures. Well, I've got some chariot miniatures. Now, let's just zoom in a bit. There we go. So this is the original minifig 6-pound Russian cannon. Now from Chariot Miniatures, I ordered 2 6-pound cannon, and this is what I got. Now, as you can see, they won't even fit on the base, and just look at the size of the barrel. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, so I ordered, because everything else of Essex tends to match the old 2nd-gen minifigs pretty well, I ordered some Essex artillery, 6-pound Russian cannon. Now you can see straight away, now that gun, the actual cannon piece, you can see the actual cannon piece, where is it there, is far more akin to its minifig cousin. But unfortunately the gun carriage is every bit as monstrous in size as the chariot. So yeah, don't know what's going on there, but anyway, that forced me to use, just so I could fit them on the base, and I'm sorry the light's gone again, these 2, what I think might be French howitzers. But in my mind's eye, they're just captured artillery, and I'll use them as medium 6-pound artillery anyway. Again, as previously mentioned, three artillerymen indicates medium artillery. 4 figures on a base indicates heavy artillery, and 2 figures on a base indicates horse artillery. Anyway, enough of that digression. Let's pause it again and continue the story. Okay, no time for you, a little bit of time for me. So, Allied Corps, Swedish and Finnish, Siberian, whatever you want to call them. Then my reserve corps, which is sort of like guards. Pavlov Guards, Semenovsky, Finland and Guard Jaegers, the 12-pounders, and some Guard cavalry at the back. Now, all my armies will basically follow this pattern, the exceptions being the Prussians, which will have a slightly smaller, not much, they've only got 2 units of infantry guard in their reserve from 1815. And the British, of course, a little bit smaller. With the Guard cavalry at the back there, you can see I've got some Russian horse guards, early Russian horse guards and Guards Hussars. I have got spare figures to make some Russian Guard Dragoons, make that a 12-figure unit, and then with these, Guard Jaegers or Guard Cossacks, something of that nature. I have got the figures to do so, but for the time being, no, that's just a Guard unit of cavalry. In Blucher, rules such as Blucher, there's no differentiation between heavy and light Guard cavalry, and in the pickup games, usually it's just 1 or at most 2 units of Guard cavalry. So that could be in the future. Okay, then the 2 standard infantry corps. Let's back out a bit for a sec. So, well, actually, this is a nice shot. This gets the 2 of them in together. Each one consisting of 3 line and 1 Jaeger unit. Associated skirmishers at the front, which again can be put together to form a unit. And then each corps, if you imagine a line down the middle there, so 1, 2, 3, 4 skirmishers and cavalry at the back, plus some attached artillery. You get the idea. And then we've got our heavy cavalry reserve, where you've got 2 units of cuirassier at the back, a unit of dragoons at the front, associated horse artillery. Spare units, not actually in the order of battle, but of course are available. Some Cossacks over there on the right, and then a unit of Jaeger without a flag. I've done that specifically so that, say if I want to turn a 4-stand unit, so this one here, if I want to turn some of them into 6 stands, I just do that sort of thing. You get the idea. But they're actually spare. I tend to, or I've tended to make up enough to try and, particularly the infantry, to fill up the box that they come in. Alrighty. So, bit of a swimming overview. So yeah, cavalry corps, or heavy cavalry corps, battle cavalry corps, probably more appropriate. Some spares, 2 lots of sort of standard infantry corps with attached cavalry and artillery reserves. Your allied corps, which follows the same system. A reserve corps, usually your guards and your Guard cavalry and your 12-pounders there. With the commanders, each army at the moment has got a total of 8 command figures. Now these were all done up for, I think it was Napoleon's battles way back in the whoop. Until I decide what rule set is going to be my go-to, I'm just going to leave them as is for the time being. Anyway, so there you have it. Next off the list is the last of the Austrians. That's now another bit of a trouble fitting everything in. hold on to your stomachs just for a minute. So we swing round. 32 Austrian Grenadiers, and that will bring the Austrian reserve up to 3 units of Grenadier infantry. Also, to my horror, I realised I actually need to do a unit of 6 Prussian Guard light cavalry. I didn't realise, so I've got these in from eBay. I may have mentioned that before. I've got some Prussian Hussars, which I'm going to paint as Prussian Guard Hussars. Also, while I was at it, I noticed these. They're Prussian Guard Uhlans, Prussian Guard Lancers from 1815, differing in the old minifigs anyway, differing from the rest of the Prussian Lancers in that hopefully you can tell they're actually wearing a zapka. Again, thinking to the future, if I do decide to, the sun's come out, amen. If I do decide to increase the reserve or guard cavalry component into a heavy and a light by adding 6 figures to most units, that's where those guard lancers will come in handy. All right, apologies for the, let's face it, crap production. Ideally, I'd love to be able to zoom in a bit more and show you a bit better, but you get the idea, and I'm no great shakes as a painter. If you get a look, the Krause collection, Krause, if you're into 15mm figures. Go over and have a look. He does not just Napoleonics, he does everything. Some huge amount of 15mm figures, and his camera work and description is much better than mine. Anyway, that's it for the moment. Take care, everyone. Hope you're hanging in there. Missiles are flying backwards and forwards all over the world. Oh dear, I think it might be a matter of time, but we shall press on. All right, cheers. Bye for now.